Hi there. So I just wanted to do a video talking about a status that I've just uploaded on my Facebook page and on MeWe. Um, it's really about my own processing process and my communication with the Nine after bringing forward the transmission Pink Full Moon into Beltane, Ruby Crystal Alchemy, April 29th to May 5th. And I sort of have had a couple of conversations with the Nine, which is the processing, actually. I mean, having conversations with your guidance system is you communicating from a linear perspective with the aspect of self that is non-linear in its thinking. So you're communicating from a one-tracked perspective with the aspect of you that is multi-tracked or multi-dimensional, and potentially omnipresent as well, depending on which aspect you're communicating with. So in that processing, in that communication, I came up with a presentation within the third dimension that would be in alignment with the Ruby Crystal Code activation at around this time. April 29th of Pink Full Moon into Beltane, right up until 5th of May. So this is what I wrote on my Facebook and MeWe. With the Ruby Crystal Code balancing alignment into Emerald Crystal Code, we have the Ruby Emerald Merge, divine marriage that is the Sophia Christ Alliance. This is a merging of sacred masculine matter, 3D, and divine feminine antimatter, 5D, creating the match within the 3D reality of alchemical divine marriage between truther, warrior, exposing the illusion, destroyer, system buster, and light worker, channel, healer, priestess, muse. What does this look like in physical terms? Truther and starseed communities coming together, realizing they are on the same side and working towards the same goals. On the ground, we have the truthers, and in the clouds, we have the starseeds, separated, twin flames waiting to unite. The daughters of the flame, daughters of the phoenix rising, will bridge the gap between truther, starseed communities, as these daughters will be ambassadors for each community, having been intensively trained as a communicator for both camps, as it were. The divine marriage, Ruby, Emerald, Sophia Christ, Truther, Starseed, will be the end of the service to self, Cabal, Illuminati. Why? Because their biggest fear shall be realized. What is that? Unification of the people with the strongest voices, those that are activated. This begins now, full pink moon in Scorpio into Beltane. This is what alchemy looks like. This is the twin flame. Implosion, not explosion. So be it, it is done. Happy Beltane, my beloved family of light. So this is what I wrote today on my Facebook status and on my MeWe status. In the third dimension, what do we have? We have these two camps of starseeds. They're all starseeds. So we've got the truther, warrior, exposing the illusion, the destroyer, as in the destroyer of the control structure. They're not destroyers of all things. They are the destroyers of the control structure, the indigo revolution, the system buster. So that is the indigo, that is the ruby, that is the male, that is the matter, that is 3D. And many of these presentations within human incarnation now are those that call themselves truthers. And within that truther community, we have a certain there's a mystery regarding the starseed community, because over here the starseed community, light worker, channel, healer, priestess, muse, that's the crystal energy, that's the emerald code, this is the divine feminine, so this is the Sophia Christ merge playing out in 3D. So we've got the truth. Let's just call this particular third dimensional community truther and starseed. Of course, all truthers are starseeds. Many of the starseeds are truthers. So we've got to merge anyway between individuals within themselves. But if we look at them as separate structures, the truthers are looking at the starseeds and thinking, bit of a mystery, that lot. Bit weird, you know, don't really do anything, say the same sort of stuff as us about the cabal and the Illuminati and the control structure and taking back our sovereignty and taking back our freedom, but what are they really doing? I'm not saying that this is what all truthers think, because as I said, many truthers are starseeds and they're fully in both camps, but some are just a little bit put off by the new age movement, by the you know, the light workers. They see them as not really having much of a role particularly, and some of them can be quite put off by them to the point of being angry or just dismissive. So you've got the truther community there, but then on the other hand you have this starseed or light worker community that will look at the truthers and think, well, you're too dark, you're too negative, all you do is think about politics or the cabal or you know, all the other negative things that the cabal have done, and we're about forgiveness and we're about love, blah blah blah. So you've got this you know, this opposing polarity here, and what that does is it divides the very people that are aware. These are the activated individuals. They are all starseeds. They're all here for the same reason, and if we can divide them, service to self agenda, if we can divide them and make this lot think that lot are all nuts and make this lot think that lot are all evil, then great. What happens when they unify? What happens when the truther and the starseed communities, or the truther and the lightworker communities, come together? Or should we call them the new age? What happens when the truther communities, which expands into the UFO communities, the investigative researchers, you know, this is more sort of grounded, third dimensional, real world information here that's actually, you know, on the front lines of restructuring this reality. And then you've got this new age sort of community over here, obviously working in the higher dimensions. What happens when they come together? What happens when the light workers and the starseeds start to teach the truthers what they know, and the truthers teach the starseeds what they know? What happens when all the light workers that thought the truthers were all really negative start to look at the negative? Because a lot of them don't. A lot of them will run away from the shadow. It's love light all the way, and I don't want to look at that. I don't want to know about child trafficking and everything else that goes on, and all the awful things that have happened. I don't want to see that, because it's just too dark and too negative, and I want to stay in the nice bubble that is love. That's not what this is about. This is an absolute merge, and there must be a merge, because if you don't merge the outer, you cannot merge the inner. And if you do not merge the inner, you will not be able to ascend with the trajectory of individualization. You can still upgrade, you can still go through ascension, but there won't be the clarity, there won't be this sort of sovereignty and the warrior, that there won't be the feeling of I've done this myself, I've completed my mission, I did what I came to do, which is about balance and integration. So what happens when we bring the two together? Let's just say that all of a sudden all the light work and new age thought, you know what, those truthers have really got something, and I'm going to embrace them all and love them all, and I'm going to listen to what they say. And what happens when you've got the truthers looking over at the new age and thinking, actually, they've got a point here, you know, what's all the ascension about? What is the higher dimensions? Can you imagine the unification? Then when that happens, the cabal, Illuminati, service to self structure in third dimensional reality cannot continue. It's too much of a unification, and we're right at the beginning of that unification. The seed points to that unification are now the pink full moon into Beltane, between 29th of April and 5th of May, we have a stargate, we have a bridge that contain the seed points to that. So it's up to us where we go with this. And if we see unification, if we're a truther listening to this right now, think, yeah, okay. Even if you just remain open, you don't have to listen to what's being said. And there, admittedly, there is stuff in the new age or in the channeling community that is just can come across as complete nonsense. And I understand that, but it's just remaining open to the whole philosophy of oneness and of multiple dimensions and of the ability to communicate with these beings, because you've got the UFO community, but the UFO community sort of on the ground, if you like, is experience and sightings in real time. But within the lightwork communities, you have also experience of other beings in a completely different way. This is often very out of body, astral. It is inner work, you know. But they are, one is matter, one is antimatter, and the antimatter and matter is merging now. It's already merged within the higher dimensions. Obviously, it's been like that since the beginning of time. Not that there is a beginning, but the reality has sort of rolled down through the dimensions. So, you know, we are very much standing in the Sophia Christ alliance. We are standing in the indigo crystal merge. We are standing in the male-female in a marriage. This is the alchemy. We can't ascend without this, because turning lead into gold is the same thing. So the carbon-based into the silicon stroke crystalline-based formation is exactly the same thing. It must mirror. It must mirror throughout the dimensions. And within the third dimension, within the starseed community, we have a unification. We have a holy matrimony. We have a divine marriage. And that is the truthers, the male thinkers, if you like, with the light workers, the female thinkers, the sacred masculine, the divine feminine, coming together. And then what I actually wrote here was the daughters of the flame, daughters of the phoenix rising. So the daughters of the flame are those who are in incarnation. Not all daughters of the flame are in incarnation, but they're individualized structures beyond the oneness, beyond the unification being the flame, the eternal flame. So the twin flames become the male and the female. The daughter of the flame is the daughter of the twin flames. She's the granddaughter of Source, if you like. Daughters of the phoenix rising being the transformation of something. As the phoenix rises from the ashes, the phoenix is transformed, and the ashes is the leftover residue of the old structure. So they're the daughters of the phoenix rising, because that's where we are. We are rising from the ashes. The whole of the third dimension is restructuring, and ash will be left, not literally, but potentially literally in some places. But I'm not talking about literal ash, but I am talking about the collapse of the tower, if you like, if you look at tarot. The daughters of the flame, daughters of the phoenix rising, and they don't have to be female. The daughters of the flame and the daughters of the phoenix rising can be men. It's the divine feminine expressed as the daughter. The daughters of the phoenix rising, the daughters of the flame, will bridge the gap between truth and starseed communities. As these daughters, as in men and women, will be ambassadors for each community, having been intensively trained as a communicator for both camps, as it were. So we're looking at people or groups of people, an organization, let's say, that are fully invested in looking at and integrating the Cabal Illuminati whole journey, and what they've done and why they've done this right from the beginning. The whole reason why the polarity exists in the first place. They will be invested in the understanding of that, and will also be fully invested within the multidimensional and the spiritual. Now, these daughters are not just bridging a physical gap. So we may have someone who is able to communicate with all the starseeds and be part of that network and part of that telepathy and that union, and move into the love with them. And also somebody who's able to communicate with the truthers or the UFO community, or you know, the investigators, and speak as an ambassador. That means a representative for the starseeds. So that person could say, I'm speaking on behalf of the starseeds because I am aware of how the starseed collective thinks, and this is how we feel regarding you, the truthers. But this person will also be able to speak on behalf of the truthers and say to the starseeds, say to the light workers, this is how the truthers feel. And I'm speaking on behalf of them to say to you. So they will be an ambassador between both gaps, you know, bridging the gap, as it were. But also, this isn't just a polarization within the groups, it's individual as well. Because you've got the masculine and you've got the feminine, which is the left and the right. You've got the shadow side and the, you know, the conscious side, the subconscious side, the conscious side, the sun, the moon, the night, the day. So we've got this inner communicator, and this is where we come into the throat chakra. This is where we come into communication. We've got the inner communicator that's able to bridge the gap between the masculine and the feminine, the truther, the indigo, and the crystal. So this is occurring within individuals, and it's all part of integration, but it's also occurring within the actual light worker, new age, and truther communities. And you will see evidence of this, of this coming together. And you will see typical channels, light workers and healers speaking in truther UFO circles. And you will see these UFO investigators, truthers, speaking in the New Age circles. There will be a merge of the two. So that's very much at the beginning in this reality right now, but that will occur. There will start to be a merge and an acceptance. But of course, it's a marriage. And when that happens, the cabal cannot survive. They literally can't in this reality. It's not possible, because the unification is just too strong. Every single one of these starseeds are so focused within the pineal gland visuals that they're creating together, and that creates a reality. And so the focus, the trajectory, which has always been the same anyway, but just from a different perspective, the trajectory unifies. And so that does signify the end of the control, the end of the reach that the cabal have had. You know, they've had a very, very sort of wide reach, if you like. They've been able to do things, and what they've been able to do is now being thwarted, and that's been going on for a long time. I mean, within the higher dimensions, that program has already been written, if you like. They've already had their day, and we've known this for quite some time, but we are now seeing evidence of this. We will begin to see evidence of this within the third dimensional reality, and the whole thing is occurring within ourselves as well. So that's what I wrote today on Facebook. So I thought I would just let you know about that, because I felt it was quite important. I won't say that this is the interpretation of that transmission, pink full moon into Beltane, ruby crystal alchemy. That wasn't the interpretation. It is one interpretation of what that means, because the whole ruby crystal gene is multiple in the way that it's working. And but that's just one interpretation in a third dimensional sense of how that this will manifest. But there are many ways that this alliance will manifest. So this is really, these are really, really powerful days right now, from now through till the 5th of May. And from what I can see, we've got plenty of these waves of sort of Stargate spikes coming in with an extremely high energetic around the summer solstice 2018. And from what I can see, the starseed community is growing and more people are waking up and adding to that, either on the truther side or on the light worker side. They're adding to the starseed community, and many of these people are both. They are absolute truthers, and they are completely spiritually aware and multidimensional as well. And that's where the majority of the starseeds are. You know, this two camps thing is just an interpretation of just some of the starseeds. So it's growing, and I would say around this, by the summer solstice, there will have been tangible things occur that will make us know that the Cabal and the Illuminati control has reached the end of its day, really. By the summer solstice, we will have evidence of this, tangible evidence. So exciting times. Still got lots of work to do, but we can enjoy the progress that we have made and that we're making, and the fact that we're on such a great timeline for everything that we incarnated here to do. And the other message that the Nine spoke about, and I put this in the Facebook status, implosion not explosion, is to do with where previous societies have tried to do the same thing and have failed, because the momentum they have raised has caused an explosion rather than an implosion. Now that could be blowing something up with nuclear war, or crystal technology used in the wrong way, or both, in different civilizations in different time periods, in order to change the third dimensional or change the linear reality, or to rebel against control. So when you've got explosion, it's pure destruction on all the levels. When you have implosion, the structure collapses on itself from the inside. So the third dimensional Illuminati Cabal structure and the systems that they have set up collapse from the inside rather than blow up, if you like. And like I said, blowing up could mean nuclear, it could mean crystal technology or dark magic that is misused, but it could also mean destruction of the people within an emotional sense, or within a spiritual sense, or within a DNA sense as well. So the implosion is the inside. Everything changes from the inside, and this is exactly what's happening within the DNA. So the Atlanteans, which is one of the previous civilizations or time periods, that there were several Atlantean phases, but they've been through this. And explosion, if you're looking on a biological level, if you're looking at the DNA, if you don't balance what the Nine call quantum convergence charge, they also call this blue star fire, which is the charge you need in order to be able to go through stargates to ascend. And this is all in my next book. If you don't build enough charge to do this, then you burn out. And it's kind of like a rocket taking off and using up all its rocket fuel, and then it just can't get through the atmosphere and it just crashes to the ground. But if you implode the DNA structure, so you change the structure of the DNA from the inside and it implodes on itself, it creates this toroidal field in this sort of balanced way, which is all to do with your thoughts and your coherent, focused thoughts, all in a state of balance, and your emotions. If you can do that, then you do create enough quantum convergence charge, which is blue starfire, to get through the stargates and go through Stargate Ascension. So this time period is great, this 29th of April through to the 5th of May, and then obviously we're going forward in these other spikes and up to this summer solstice, this lovely sort of raise in energy then. This time period is just wonderful, because it's seeding this unification of polarity within all these levels: the DNA, the experience of the human, the groups coming together and merging, the chakras, which is the DNA, and the processing of the awareness of what's happening to us. So so that's my Facebook status, which is quite layered, and I thought I would read that out and go through a little bit of an analysis of it. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you again soon. See you later. Bye. We are now at a time in our planetary evolution known as ascension. Those individuals we can call starseeds are currently in their millions and are collectively going through this awakening process. In this book, the 9 bring forward memory triggers designed to act as a catalyst into the awakening process. They present a model of working with the individualized matrix field, known also as the Merkaba, through matrix architecture, Merkaba magic, and the golden triad of ascension, presenting an in-depth analysis and explanation of the twin flame consciousness and how this relates to the ascension, as well as providing triggers to the collective memory experience known as Atlantis. This transmission is designed to trigger your multidimensional memory as you begin the construction of the Merkaba matrix and embrace the inner archetype of the architect. The triggers contained within this material are there to assist you in accessing the codes for the new formation of the original crystalline DNA matrix. I, Magenta Pixie, am so happy to present this transmission to you from the White-Winged Collective Consciousness of 9, Divine Architecture and the Starseed Template.